Your reading starts with the Nine of Pentacles representing you. The Nine of Pentacles, in a way, is a card of sacrifice. It is a card of confidence, self-assurance, perhaps taking your time, a bit slow moving, but it's only because one is assured of what they're doing. But it's a card of sacrifice because you're sort of turning your back on other things in order to pursue a higher goal or a sense of evolution or to pay attention to a project. You know, this is someone who sacrificed family for career or something of that nature. That doesn't have to be the case, but, you know, cutting out the fat in order to, you know, take a more focused approach. And, you know, very much finds a sense of value in what they do and self-respect. On your mind, you know, you're represented by the magician. So you are very functional at what you do. You've learned your tools well. Or you just understand that the possibility to create whatever you seek is within your reach. I think that you've become more discerning. Crossing you is the death of the fool. So kind of letting go of a care to the wind sort of energy, I feel like. Or you're leaving behind what no longer serves you, what is meant to be left in the past, so that you can start the new chapter and the blessings ahead. And even behind you, you have the world. So this would represent a massive transition or the beginning and or end of a chapter. On ground level, you're represented by the King of Swords. So I do think that there is a clarity. Intuitively, I feel like you might be considering approaching new things or new projects or a new direction. That doesn't have to be the case because really the King of Swords is very clear, very sharp, very assured. I don't think that you're really open to much bullshit. But see, ahead of you, there's kind of this mystery. You're not really sure what to expect. And that's a part of sort of what implies maybe going into a new direction. But in a way, you may not even be sure of this yet. Or you may not even be aware of this yet. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you, that progresses throughout the next few weeks or so. Because this is almost like, or it could be a person you're trying to figure out or a situation, but because it's almost like you begrudgingly approach something or skeptically approach something. Now, there will be response or information or something in the outside influence that moves quite quickly. Most likely some kind of information or what have you. You know, you may fear walking away from comfort zones or things that served you at one time, but I think that you're assessing what's a good fit and what isn't. Or ways of being that worked before that maybe don't work now. And your outcome is interesting because there's a fearful focus. You know, I feel like you're very sharp. And that could be why you're turning your back on a lot, because I think that there's a realization of the need to defend your position and to stay focused. You know, fear, anxiety, stress, it can be a great motivator if we allow it to be. You know, the wise person has anxiety and immediately starts seeking solutions, where the unwise let themselves dissolve into a puddle of bullshit and hysteria. And I think you're choosing the wise approach, where maybe before you had the not so wise. You know, maybe there's been lessons learned through certain things you've gone through, or just time, experience, maturity, things like that. You know, I think that the way you're considering things and the way that you're looking at things are different, and you know, you're maybe placing more of an importance on the development of your life, or it could just be a very specific situation. I'm going to pull another spread for you all. I do want to take a moment to promote my Patreon. That is where all the extended versions of these readings go, as well as other exclusive content and monthly art prints. It is a great way to support me as an independent artist and creative. That being said, also, if you want to work with me on a personal level, I do take, I have several options for personal readings on my website. All of that can be accessed in the description below. If you enjoy, if you resonate, feel free to like and subscribe. And even if you've just made it this far into the video, I just appreciate you being here. You know, the advice spread here I like, especially as a follow-up to the first one, because it suggests to not be afraid to take your time. Feel free to sit and ponder for a while, because, you know, I feel like you put yourself in a position where you maybe have a lot of conflict mentally. Maybe you question your integrity on how you do things or the way you see things. But what it's kind of getting at here is that maybe it wouldn't hurt you to break out of your conventional thinking for a bit. It wouldn't hurt you to step outside of the traditions and norms that you have accepted for yourself. Particularly if you're ending a long cycle, like say that you left a job or a marriage or something like that, and you still are sort of in this box that you have created your perspective from that isn't necessarily relevant anymore. It's also suggesting to approach things with confidence, with a sense of joyfulness, a sense of optimism, rather than hesitancy and competition even, because it does seem like there's a lot of good experiences ahead of you. You have judgment in the outside influence. Perhaps someone is assessing you, or there's a judgment call to be made. There seems to be a lot of focus going into this maybe. So the sense of anticipation makes sense. The sense of, you know, being on hold. You know, I feel like it's like everything you approach, you're afraid you're going to have to battle through, or you're afraid you're going to have to defend your credibility or your position on something. And that's not necessarily all the case always. Maybe you've been met with a lot of opposition in your life, and so that's what you've kind of come to expect. But again, I think a lot of this is, for one, getting very clear on what isn't serving you, and stepping outside of norms or comfort zones that you've been in. I think that's one of the most beneficial things anyone can do is break out of their comfort zone on a regular basis. If you ask me, I'd say do something to be uncomfortable every single day. Do you understand like how expansive that can be? How liberating that can be? If you do something that makes you uncomfortable or is embarrassing or is just sort of a bit left trail, it does a lot. It starts to open up new neural pathways, new ways of thinking, new ways of seeing the world, new experiences, new opportunities, everything. So never, you know, forget the power of that, of just choosing a different direction, of just trying something new. you know, we always hear keep an open mind or try new things or get out of your comfort zone, and we kind of tend to just write it off because it's such a common thing to hear, but it's there for a reason. It's been it's said for a reason. And when you really integrate that into your practice, it can have very significant impacts on your life. And I say this because I've experienced it. I'm not going to get into the whole details of like how I wound up doing that, but you know, literally doing something to become uncomfortable every day, or something to change your perspective, or whatever, it really is profound. So, you know, try it or don't, I don't give a shit, but it is helpful. So I'm going to take this over to the extended reading on my Patreon. If you guys want to join us there, again, the link is in the description below. If you want to work with me on a one-on-one level, again, I have personal readings. Do feel free to like and subscribe. That very much helps me out, and I'd like to build the channel. And so have a great day or night or whenever you're seeing this, and I appreciate you watching.